Let's add some more circuits in this wood stove welding shop. It is a Tuesday and we are in Barrington, Rhode Island. This customer called us out because they keep tripping breakers inside this welding space here and they want to add an additional 2 circuits. That way they can plug in their grinders and sanders. So what I'm doing here is I'm planning out how I'm going to run my 1/2-inch EMT. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that beam all the way across the room there, come down and then add 2 GFIs. So right now I'm actually going to start cutting some threaded rod. I'm going to cut threaded rod pieces at 5 inches long. I'm using a Diablo flush cut blade here because that way it doesn't burr up the end of the threaded rod. Afterwards, I'll just file it down. That way there's no sharp edges. And then I'm going to use a nut driver to drive on the nut onto the threaded rod. And in case there's a small burr or something that I couldn't get with the file, this just helps take that burr out. This is an old Sylvania panel here. So we're going to be going into this panel in the space. So far, here's what I have. I have just that one piece of pipe bent. I did a kick on a 90 there and then did another 90, and I'm going to use those standoff clips there with those pieces of threaded rod. So that's basically how we're going to do the whole entire process going all the way down the beam there. So as you can see, I got everything ran here. I ended up using an LR there. That way I could have a pull point. Right now I have the snake in there. I'm going to be using these 20 amp GFCI outlets. We want to make sure that we use 20 amp outlets just because of how much load and how much abuse the equipment is taking in here. We want to make sure that everything is as heavy duty as we can get it. Now that I got all my number 12s pulled in there, I pulled 2 separate neutrals for the 2 circuits because I don't want to have to use a handle tie if I use the multi-wire branch circuit. Now I got both GFIs in there. Everything turned out really nice. I got one labeled circuit number 13, circuit number 15. I got the breakers labeled new plug in the welding shop here. I also labeled the panel cover as well. And I'm going to show you guys the full overview of what I did here. So like I said, we did a kick with a 90 there. I also clipped it onto that plywood board. We're going to 90 across onto the beam here, and we're going to use beam clamps going all the way down the beam. So I ended up using, I think it was like 8 beam clamps. I wanted to keep everything nice and consistent, so we made sure to measure from the end of the pipe on each beam clamp to keep everything symmetrical. We got everything perfectly level going all the way down. I did a little offset into that LR there, and then another 6-inch offset coming down into the box, and then a piece of pipe going across. So if you're in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, give us a call. We are taking new clients.